Hello, people. As I walk, I did not realize that as I did my video yesterday, I got a haircut yesterday. And I had told the lady to layer it to frame my face. We were chit-chatting and on the back of my layers, they do like this pixie choppy thingy. When push comes to shove, by the end of it, my hair is gone. Most of it is gone. And I woke up this morning and I was waiting to, run my hands through my fingers through the hair and do my little thingy. There was nothing. It looked like I put my finger in a socket. Not cool. Not cool at all. But what are you going to do? My hair grows eventually. I have to let it grow out. And maybe I needed a haircut. Because the past 2 years and a half, I've been doing the same kind of hairdo. Where it was more like the Jane Fonda type of layered look. And when you straighten it up, it looks pretty voluminous and stuff like that. And this year, this happened. This moment in time happened. And I realized that maybe it's a sign of things to come, change. If you keep doing the same thing and expect the same results, that's what crazy is, right? I think that's how it's defined. And basically, at this age, ripe age of 43, I'm having an identity crisis. Society might have called this a midlife crisis because if you consider the age of mortality for women, what is it, like 80 to 85? I've hit the midpoint, right? Now it's all downhill from here. And why they call it, so a crisis, because and it's more of an identity crisis than a midlife. Because it's not you hit a certain age and you want to go spaz out and do some crazy shit. Excuse my French. It's the fact that it's taken half a lifetime to realize the facade that you've been portraying this whole time. And then when you have a moment of solace, a moment of solitude, a moment to yourself, and you're thinking and reflecting about your next move in life because you've accomplished A, B, C, D, and you ran down your list of dreams and you've made it happen, and what's next for Bob or Mary or Jane or me, you realized you don't know who you are. You've played the role of the wife. You've played the role of the husband. You've played the role of the father. You played the role of the sister. You've played the role of a babysitter. You've played the role of a caretaker. You've played the role of a student. You've played the role of a teacher. You've played the role of the employee of the month, or you've played the role of, whatever. You've held a position, different positions, based on society rules, and then you come to a point where it's like, what's next? And then there's people with the traumatic stress disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, the CPTSD, the ones who, I don't know what you want to call it, survival lists, where They done the people pleasing, the overgivers, the oversharers, the, overachieving. So they could be selected, and they play the persona, the amoeba. I called myself an amoeba a while ago. Because you shape shift and you adapt to your surroundings. And you make everybody happy. And you think you're happy. And then there comes a moment where you're like, you're not satisfied. Will you ever be satisfied? Oh, camera angle. I'm showing all my frown lines and my forehead wrinkles. What it used to be when I was younger. No. Cried too many tears. And so I've aged myself. Trying to get that Korean beauty stuff going on. Anyway. So. It's an identity crisis. Now I have adult money. I'm able to pay my bills. Do my stuff. And I want to do cool stuff. And that I'm doing cool stuff, I want to do it with somebody. I want to share it with somebody. No, I'm not giving out applications. I'm not taking applications. I think that's a dead end street for many people. Nope. But at one point, I was going through the turmoil of my life, and I figured I was finding my authentic self. And what I thought, like people might say, some of the things I've done might have been characterized as trauma responses, survival mode. But I genuinely was happy. It's nice to be a nice person. It's nice to see somebody smile. It's nice to see someone's dreams come true when you're there being supportive. It's nice. It's nice to have YOLO moments where you only live once. I will segue back to YOLO. And I'll go back to YOLO in a minute. But there's a moment where it's like, I was happy to share that with someone. Even if it was temporary, it was for the companionship. Because I always wanted a friend. And not that I wanted to be chosen, but I wanted to be Peter Pan and find my own Peter Pan and let Peter Pans be together and not worry. And the authentic me that appreciated a new level of life, a new flavor of life, met real life, real time rejection. Or at least what I deemed as rejection. And thus the identity crisis happened. Because now I don't know if it was me performing or did I do something wrong? Or are they really an a-hole? It's all questionable. So I, was, like I said, having an identity crisis in the sense of, who am I at this ripe age? I don't identify myself as an employee. That's not my life. If I was to retire from my job, I think I'd be happy. because it's given me a comfortable life. But as a human being, not being accepted and appreciated by being genuine and authentic, it led me to believe that I wasn't good enough. And it was an oxymoron because I lived and breathed and died with the idea and notion that I'm awesome. Right? So basically, I was in my own head fighting the war of good and evil, having an identity crisis. What would Jesus do? Oh, he had his identity crisis. I think it was the time before he did get crucified. I think he spent some time up in the mountains meditating, and he kept asking, Father, tell me what you want me to do. But I will do what I will do your will, you know. And he asked him 3 times, and then he figured out that this was his, moment of truth. We all come to terms with our moment of truth, right? So, identity crisis. So I think I didn't mean for my haircut to represent this identity crisis. And it's kind of crazy to me that it just happened to be on this, I guess, new chapter. I don't even know what the hell it is. It's like transformative. I'm in the middle of it. Okay, because I don't think I'm complete. I haven't finished where I gotta go, But obviously, the journey is never ending, right? So, going back to YOLO, you only live once. And with your identity crisis, you start finding out what you like, don't like, finding new hobbies, old hobbies, because you're by yourself. I'm not going crazy looking at the walls, letting them close down on me, and at first it was getting to me because there was too much background noise speaking to me. God doesn't make a mistake, and he sure didn't make a mistake with me. But I know this time he put me in a war and in a battle, back to back, and I didn't survive one, and then on the other one, I reclaimed old versions of me and along with new ones, and better. I hammered out the dents in my armor with God's grace, and understood the assignment that I gotta be this strong. I have no choice. That my desire of longing and yearning and being wanted was blindness, and it still is a tunnel vision of what you want on this earth. But if you have a sense of what God's love is and what God's promises are, you're being childish. For the greatest blessings of mine are not on this earth. But shoot, I wish they were. Oh, I would like to see them. I would like to see them. See, now my ADHD is real. I say that, but I've never been formally diagnosed. But I want to jump into 2 topics. First one is the YOLO moment. As I was saying, you find these moments where you try new things, and you do new things, and you say, YOLO, you only live once. You know what? sucks about YOLOing by yourself, it's a moment. It's a moment. It's not an experience. It's a moment because you're trying a new thing, but how many times have you tried a new thing by yourself? The butterflies start wearing thin. The confidence is on 24/7 because you've been there before. Where you had to muster up the courage and just do it by yourself. Where you get dressed up and you walk into a restaurant and you order a 3-course meal because you can and you can afford it while everyone's with somebody else. And as you enjoy your meal, it's not so much an experience. Because how many times am I going to order a cup of water and, a mixed mocktail with the fish of the day, or catch of the day, whatever you want to call it, and their fancy flan, dessert, while you're wearing that dress you would never normally wear, but you're never going to go back to that restaurant, so you pretend to be this glamazon, this bougie chick who got money, all because you can afford it for that day. Can't do it every day. It's a moment. The moment you decide, hey, I want to ride a horse, and you go ahead and do it. Everyone's hanging out with their buddies, and you're literally the fifth wheel. You fall off the horse, you literally get back on. It starts off as an experience, but ends up as a moment. Because the overlying moral of the story is you had to do it again by yourself. You laughed with people. You made jokes with people. You smiled at people. For a second, they remember you, and you'll remember them. But that's what makes the moment an experience. It's the other people. So yeah, I do like going to places and doing things with people better than by myself because I could do everything by myself. But it's to have that one person or two or three or a group that come together and they all smile. And they all laugh. We all have a moment to share the story. The same story, but in 6 or 7 perspectives. That's an experience. And that's a YOLO moment. Because you'll never do it with your friends again. But it's worth having that moment turn into an experience. So that's what makes me sad about doing things by myself, because it's moments, not experiences. I could go to the movie theaters by myself. I could play pool by myself. I could go karting by myself. I could drive really fast. I could drive many miles by myself. It's a moment, not an experience. YOLO. And the thing is, unfortunately, if you don't get to know me, how I define my YOLO moments, experiences, it may be too intimate for some. To them, YOLO is the moment, even with or without people. But then it leads on to me, how I think and how I understand the world how I visualize things, how I remember things. Life has dealt me a tough hand, and therefore I have learned to compartmentalize. Time frames. Hiding in the depths of the crevices, of the twists and turns, of the wrinkles in my brain, versus having real memories. Where you hold on to bits and pieces, fragments of memory, versus the whole storyline. Because the before and after have been compartmentalized. I want to say you want to erase them, but I don't think we ever do. We just tend to use the word, I forgot that happened, until you hear the story from someone else's point of view. I've done that with all my ex-boyfriends. I put them in manila folders and I've shoved them away to the depths and the back skirts of my brain. And they're forgotten. I'll remember tidbits of certain things. Like I had one boyfriend, we went to Paris together. It was the craziest time ever. You know, flown to Germany, got my hair done, first time as a blonde. And then we broke up. We separated, went our separate ways, and memories of Germany/Paris ceased to exist in my mind. I moved on. Literally moved on. Forgot about him. Didn't even want to talk to him. Don't care to talk to him. And occasionally he'll talk to me. But the simple fact that when he reiterates some event that has transpired between us, I'm like, you remember that? I questioned the validity of it. And it comes back to me like, yeah, it really happened. I have photos that prove it. Crazy, huh? That's why I say YOLO is a moment for me rather than an experience. It was an experience having those ex-boyfriends and boyfriends because there's multiple moments of newness and everything like that, but then you put them away. And what do you do about the one person that got you so messed up? It got you feeling again, got you thinking again, got you evolving on a different level. And you technically know they're no good for you. But you treasure those memories more than anything you've ever experienced. Because there was some wholesomeness, there was some genuine version of yourself that now it's transcended relationships and it's present every day. It's present every single day. This dog. So what do you do with that? What do you do with that person? Do you put them away too? Like the rest of them? Do you forget about your foundation story? How you discovered yourself? I'm not that interesting. Pretty boring, I think. I just have a tendency to say awesome things when I'm by myself. Not taking away from my awesomeness, right? At any time. But I was soft and I was happy and I was, that kind of girl. But I know he's no good for me. They're no good for me. So used to people walking in and out of the life. Kind of grow accustomed. But what if that one person gave you something? A standard. Showed me how low my bar was. And moments of bliss that are now painful because I have to find it within myself now. Moments, not experiences. You gotta compartmentalize that too. Tend to cry when I think about these things because they're sappy tears. Yes, sappy tears. Sad and happy, sappy. Happy that you had that moment of reckoning where it seems like the world was crashing down, but it was the best lesson. Because you learned how to live, laugh, and love. You got to fly and dive in, swim, just do everything. The little things you didn't think your heart needed. YOLO. You know it's a dead end, but you run into it anyway, right? Hoping that there is no dead end. Then you do all the spiritual work, right? You ask God every day. You say that prayer. God, if it's not for me, take them away. And for the very first time in my life, I have not been strong enough to set my foot down. To say, go F off. In my normal fashion to anybody who I deem not of my caliber. Not trying to save them. People might question that. I just wanted to enjoy life. A companion. That's what it was. Because as you YOLO, you have so many moments. You just want to thrive and have the experience. Even though you know it's a dead end. It's mute. Identity crisis. Because you've lived so long dealing with people. Along them, with them, underneath them, above them. To all of a sudden be by yourself. And sit in that solitude where you can replay these mini movies in your head and in your heart. Where everything starts to become a moment. Compartmentalized. Until you start rebuilding and rebranding and rewriting a new chapter of your life, and you tell yourself it's not going to be the same. It's going to be better. You're going to elevate yourself, and every single time something bad and chaotic happens, you end up elevating, ascending to a better version of yourself that the girl that was 28 years old, who I wanted to associate as printed passion so much to, would be proud of me. An appeal fully clothed and spiritual and wholesome. Identity crisis. Well, I guess I'll break it off for today. But it was my food for thought. Walking Chronicles. I'll figure how I want to dissect this. I gotta keep your attention somehow. Have a good night, world.